what we are going to discuss is Consumer Protection Act 2019 and Consumer Protection Rules 2020. So there were some amendments were made due to the pecuniary jurisdiction that we'll see in the later slide. Now, who is a consumer? Any person who buys any goods for consideration, which has been paid or promised or partly paid. It's not necessary that we pay the entire money. Like if you are a home buyer, what you do is initially you give a token money, then you enter into an agreement or there is an allotment letter, right? So there is a stage-wise payment. Even you become a consumer. If you book an amount with any builder or you book any TV, fridge, anything, you initially give a token amount. So immediately you become a consumer. Or under any deferred system of deferred payment, and includes any user of such goods other than the person who buys such goods for consideration, paid or promised or partly paid or partly promised, or under any system of deferred payment when such use is made with the approval of such person, but does not include the person who obtains such goods for resale or for any commercial purpose. Now, suppose if I am buying any goods and I'm selling it for a commercial purpose, so I don't fall into the definition of consumer. So that is very careful that it has to be for our personal use only. Who hires, avails of any services for consideration which has been paid or promised or partly paid or partly promised, or under any system of deferred payment and includes any beneficiary of such services other than the person who hires or avails of the services for consideration, paid or promised, or partly paid or partly promised, or under any system of deferred payment when such services are availed of with the approval of the first mentioned purpose, but does not include a person who avails of such services for any commercial purpose. So it is very clear that if you are availing any services or any good for commercial purpose, you don't fall into the ambit of consumer definition. Now, what is service? Service means any description which is made available to any potential user and includes but not limited to the provision of facilitates in the connection with banking, financing, insurance, transport, processing, supply of electrical or other energy, board or lodging or both, housing construction. Normally we have many problems with housing issues, then news, other information, but does not include the rendering of any service free of charge or under a contract of personal service. Now, if there is any free of charge, which is I'm providing any service, like right now what Plea is doing is we are providing free of service. So anybody is getting any information, and if he uses that information and then he does not do it in a proper way, he cannot file a claim against Plea, because this is a free of charge platform which is for the awareness of the citizen or to empower the citizen. Now, what is deficiency? Means any fault or imperfection, shortcomings or inadequacy in the quality, nature and manner of performance which is required to be maintained by or under any law for time being in force or has been undertaken to be performed by a person in pursuance of contract or otherwise in relation to any service. Suppose if I hire a security agency and it was promised in my contract that round the clock there will be 8 hours, there will be one guard who is going to be with me, but only one guard comes or 2 guard comes. So there is a deficiency of service. They are not providing 3 guards as promised in the contract that 8 hours each. They will provide a replacement of the guard. So my protection was for 24/7. So if this type of deficiency is there, we can claim for the compensation or refund of the money which they have taken from us for providing 24/7 services. So this is very clear. Now, what is unfair trade practice? The practice of making any statement, whether orally or writing, in visible reply which falsely represent that the goods are of a particular standard, quality, quantity, etc. Now, suppose if you go to buy a mobile store, right? And they give you a brochure promising that this has so much RAM, this has so much memory capacity and all. But then you find that what was mentioned there, which was falsely represented, the whatever he said that there will be a 8 GB RAM, but you are getting a 4 GB RAM. The storage capacity was told that it will be 128 GB, but you are getting 64 GB. So you can definitely come file a case against that vendor for falsely representing the particular standard or quality or quantity of good. Falsely represent that services of a particular standard, quality or grade. Falsely represents any rebuilt, second-hand, renovated, reconditioned or old goods as a new goods. Like what happens when you go to a small store, they will refurbish the old washing machine or an AC and they will sell you as a brand new. And then when you come to know, it happens with the car also. One of my friend who purchased the car, it was a Mercedes car. He was told that it's a brand new car. But then when he went for a service of the car in the Mercedes, then he find out that this car had already met an accident. And this is an accident card and which was sold by the dealer as a new car. So this type will come as a false represents or rebuild or second hand, but renovated and sold you as a new good. Represents that goods or services have sponsorship, approval, performance, characteristics, accessories, uses for benefits which such goods or services do not have. Makes a false or misleading representation concerning the need for the usefulness of any goods or services. Gives to the public any warranty or guarantee of the performance, efficiency of length of life of a product or of any good that is not based on the adequate or proper test thereof. I'll give you a simple example. Now, when we go to purchase the LED lights, the new lights which come, and the shopkeeper says that it has a 24 months wear and tear liability. If anything goes wrong, then you can replace it. But within 3 months, the lights go strong. Now, what you have to do is you have to go to the shopkeeper and you have to have the memo of purchase, right? With the GST number and everything. And it has to be written when you're buying a good, if he's giving you a promise of 2 years warranty or replacement guarantee, then it has to be written that this has a 2 years replacement guarantee. So with this, if he's doing this unfair trade practice, you can definitely catch hold of him. Now, which disputes come under the Consumer Protection Act? Housing, this is a very, nowadays, actually they know me by that I'm expert in RERA. I have got n number of orders. Now I find that instead of RERA, the Consumer Protection Act is much better because there is a wide scope. Even the judges have both the powers of civil and criminal. So builders are really afraid of consumer code than RERA. The RERA becomes very advantageous for the builders in current times because there are no judicial members who give the order, pronounce the order. But in consumer code, all of them have a judicial background. They come from they have done LLB, LLM, and they are a magistrate or a district judge, and they are appointed as a member, presiding member in the consumer court. So they apply their judicial mind. So in real estate, under what condition we can go to the consumer forum? One is delay in possession, which is a normal area, a normal this thing. Then less area. I had a very 2 days back, had a very good argument around this. Despite RERA, the builder had mentioned that this is a build-up area, this is a super build-up area, and he mentioned the carpet area also. But when we surveyed with an architect, licensed architect, we find out that even the area mentioned in the agreement, the carpet area is also less by 200 square feet. So we had a very good argument on this. So this is where you can approach the consumer code. Occupation certificate or building completion certificate is not obtained by the developer. Then again, you can go. Then conveyance. See whether it is MOFA or RERA. Once the building is completed, society is formed. Within 2 months to 6 months, he has to convey the plot to the society. If it is not done, instead of going for the dim conveyance, I would prefer we should go to the consumer forum because you get the compensation amount for mental agony, harassment, financial loss. So many things are covered in the consumer code. Municipal taxes, if it is not paid by the developer, then again we have all the substandard work. See, in RERA also, there is that if within 5 years, if there is any defect liability, within 5 years, the builder is liable to rectify that. But the scope here in the substandard work in consumer code is amazing. You can have a very good compensation if you are ready to prove that what was promised and what is given to us is inferior to than what was promised. Then cooperative housing society. Again, it is a very interesting that non-allotment of parking space. You can approach consumer code. Non-issuance of said certificate. Now, there is a wonderful case which, after 2007, we got it in 2021, the share certificate transfer in the time. So for 14 years, we were literally fighting with deputy registrar, then joint divisional registrar, and then we went to High Court. So now it is, the share certificate is transferred after 14 years. He has to pay so much money, and that mental agony and mental harassment which he had to go through. So we are going to claim that in the consumer forum, that for the 14 years, I was deprived by my right. I was not able to attend the meeting and so, and he should be compensated by the society. So this is a very good concern or a cause where we can go to the consumer court in the cooperative society matter. Excess transfer fees. In my societies, now there is a rule that you don't have to charge more than 25,000 rupees, but by arm twisting, they are charging 75,000 to 1 lakh rupees. So one of my member who is going to the consumer court because he was arm twisted, he wanted to take a loan and so on. So he was forced, to pay that 75,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees and get the name transferred and take the loan. And then if there are leakages and repairs, so we can definitely go to the consumer court. Insurance, marine insurance, fire insurance, that is general mediclaim and life insurance. Medical negligence, electricity, banking, telecom, airlines, household goods, transport, railways, banking, finance, education, tourism, domestic, fuels, postal and courier services, they all come under the ambit of Consumer Protection Act 2019. Advertisement, e-commerce, liabilities of professional under Consumer Protection Act 2019. So as a lawyer, we don't fall into this category. Thanks to the Supreme Court and the lawmakers, we still don't come under the ambit of the Consumer Act. But doctors, architects, tax consultants, chartered accountants, engineers, lawyers' decision is still pending. So we never know if we come under the ambit of Consumer Court. But right now, we don't come under the ambit of Consumer Court. Doctors negligent in treatment, fail to take informed consent, fail to give complete information about the treatment, fail to give treatment before the depositing fees in the critical situation. So there are these judgments which you can go through. And if you are interested, you can write to the plea and I'll send you this link of the judgments. In case of the Honorable Supreme Court, through this case included medical profession and medical negligence within the scope of the Consumer Protection Act, consequently empowering the aggrieved due to the medical negligence to sue for the damages for deficiency in services by a medical profession or a medical institution in a civil court. So this is a very good news. Chartered accountants, negligence in work. Like my uncle is staying out of India, but his chartered accountant, forgot to pay the TDS as deducted at source, and then he had to pay liability, penalty. So once that was brought to me, I went to that chartered accountant and said, see, my uncle is staying abroad. You are the chartered accountant. You have not informed. Wherever my uncle's manager had written an email that what is the TDS we have to pay and what is the procedure and what are the forms, he neglected. Then when we said that we are going to the consumer court, he said, okay, 50% I will pay, 50% let your uncle pay. So even if there is a negligence by the chartered accountant, we can go to the consumer court for not providing service in time, loss to the client due to the basic mistakes, my uncle's chartered accountant did. Judgment of Honorable District Forum, Augusto Fernandez versus Mr. Prabhat L. Singh, chartered accountant. It was that as the services agreed to be rendered by the opposite party to the complainant have not been rendered by him in favor of the complainant in time, that amounts to deficiency in service and unfair trade practice on the part of the opposite party, that is chartered accountant. Pecuniary jurisdiction, this is very important. As I said, in 2021, they have changed the pecuniary jurisdiction. So we'll go as per what was there in 1986, what was there in 2092, and what is the effect that is in 2021. So district forum was entertaining claims up to 20 lakhs. As per 2019, it was went up to 1 crore, and state commission from 20 lakhs to 1 crore. And as per 2019, it went to 1 crore to 10 crores, and national 1 crore and above. but as per 2019, it went to 10 crores and above. But recently, as per the government gazette dated 31/12/2021, District Forum can entertain complaint up to 50 lakhs. State Commission can entertain complaints from 50 lakh onwards to 2 crores. And national commissions from 2 crores and above, it can be any amount. Territorial jurisdiction. As per CPA 1986, where the opposite party resides or carries on business, or where the opposite party has a branch office, or where the cause of action arises. As per 2019, where the opposite party resides or carries on business, or where the opposite party has a branch office, or where the cause of action arises, where the complainant resides or works. So now this has become very simple. Now, one of my client, yesterday we had a meeting, he had booked a flight in Noida. Now the builder has not given the possession. He has taken almost 95% of the payment. And for the last 4 years, he's not giving the possession and not able to complete the project. So if he goes to RERA, he has to go into the Noida. But if he goes to the consumer forum, then we can send a notice to the builder and we can file, because he is residing, having a bank account and business in Mumbai. So we can file a complaint in District Forum or State Commission of Maharashtra as per the pecuniary jurisdiction. So we were discussing yesterday only, so it is fresh in my mind. So this is a very good. Now from Noida, just imagine the builder will have to come here, appoint an advocate, and it will become an expensive affair. So he will try to negotiate and compensate the aggrieved home buyer and settle the matter. Relaxation in court fees. The court fees was payable on the entire claim value in 1986. As per CPA 2019, the court fees are payable only on the consideration paid, and no court fees is paid up to rupees 5 lakhs, and maximum amount of court fees is 7,500. So in consumer court, if your value of that claim is around 2 crores, you get only 2,500 rupees as a court fee of the consumer court. Whereas in RERA, no matter whatever the amount is, you have to pay 5,000 rupees. So here, even the court fees in the consumer court is less compared to RERA. Introduction of e-commerce. The CPA 2019 defines e-commerce as the buying or selling of goods or services, including digital products over digital or electronic network, which further categorize into marketplace and inventory-based models of e-commerce. Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, there are so on. Just I'm putting only 3 major this thing which you can easily relate to. Introduction of product liability. Introduction of the concept of product liability action, that is the affixing liability on manufacturer or a producer, even a product seller, in certain specified circumstances, or any personal injury, death, or property damage caused to a consumer resulting from defects in manufacture, construction, design, formula, preparation, assembly, testing, service, warning, instruction, marketing, packaging, and labeling any product. So this has a very wide scope, the product liability. So you can go in details. You can see this video again and again. If there is any doubt, you can always contact Pli and me to clarify your doubts. Introduce advertisement under service. Advertisement means any audio or visual publicity, represents pronouns made by means any light, sound, smoke, gas, print, electronic media, internet or website, and include any notice, circular, label, wrapper, invoice, or any other documents. Now, you have seen initially, before the budget, there were very famous actors, I don't want to name them, but they were coming on the OTT platform or on the YouTube, and they were advertising that how they were making money in crypto, which is illegal. So after when it was brought to the notice, now no advertisement of cryptocurrency is going. So if you find this type of advertisement is going, so whoever is advertising that, we can have a complaint against them, because cryptocurrency doesn't have any assets. It is only in the thin air. Whenever it is, the balloon is going to burst. Any manufacturer or service provider who cause a false or misleading advertisement shall be made in prejudicial to the interest of the consumer, shall be punished with imprisonment with a term extend to 2 years and fine which may extend to 10 lakh rupees for the first offense. Every subsequent offense shall extend imprisonment up to 5 years and fine up to rupees 50 lakh with imprisonment or both. So this is the beauty of the Consumer Act that the presiding officer, the judge, has both the civil and criminal jurisdiction to fine and send the accused to jail. So this is why I have seen that when I put a complaint in RERA, the builder is not at all perturbed. He is enjoying because RERA doesn't have this type of jurisdiction. But once the complaint goes into the consumer forum, they immediately come to compromise and negotiate with the aggrieved home buyers. So this is the beauty that the consumer forum has and the RERA doesn't have. Address and concept of mediation. This has also come up recently. Exclusive provision have been proposed for the reference of a dispute to mediation as an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. The bill states that if it appears to the consumer forum that there exists elements of a settlement which may be acceptable to both the parties, it may direct the parties to give in writing consent to have the dispute settled by mediation. In accordance with the provision of the Act, the bill further provides for the establishment of consumer mediation cell and also enumerates the procedure of mediation. So this is also a wonderful step taken in the Consumer Protection Act. Punishment for non-compliance of final order, where if I'm talking about only about the housing industry, this is lacking in RERA, where this is very much enforced in consumer forum. Stringent execution proceedings under Section 71 of CPA 2019. Every order made by the District Commission, State Commission, or the National Commission shall be enforced by it in the same manner as if it were a decree made by a court in suit before it, and provision of the Order 21 of the first schedule of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, powers under 21 of CPC 1908. If the decree remained unsatisfied for 30 days, I am repeating, if the decree remained unsatisfied for 30 days or otherwise the judgment debtor disavows the decree, like in RERA, if the order is passed, the builder is not at all disturbed, right? He just relaxes because nothing is going to happen. But here in consumer court, may direct the person disobeying the order to be detained in civil prison for a term not exceeding 3 months. Just imagine if one of the builder goes to a civil jail for 3 months, what will happen to his reputation? So this is where the power of consumer forum lies, the Consumer Protection Act 2019. I really appreciate this clause. Property of the judgment debtor can be attached through bailiff of courts to avoid multiplicity of procedure of attachment through collector. Are you getting my point? Now in RERA, what is happening? First, I have to file a complaint that after 60 days or so, there is a non-compliance by the respondent builder, and then the hearing will take place. The hearing will go for 3 months to 6 months. After 6 months, I'll get an order. Order will be typed after 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks. It depends upon how you work with the RERA authorities and put a pressure to get that order of execution. Then you have to collect that order, give it to the collector. Then you have to follow with the collector. Then collector will send it to the Tahsildar. By the time the builder has enough opportunity to remove the bank balance from the particular bank account and siphon into some other account. And if the property has to be attached, either he will sell it or put it in some other name. But to avoid the multiplicity of this procedure of attachment, in consumer, you can attach through bailiff of courts. So this is very fast, very fast. The court has power to summon third person to bring additional evidence on record. So this is also a very good point in CPA 2019. Under Section 27 of Consumer Protection Act 1986, failure to comply with the order is punishable with imprisonment of term not less than 1 month, extend to 3 years, or fine not less than rupees 2,000, extend to 10,000, or both. Under Section 72 of the Consumer Protection Act 2019, failure to comply with the order is punishable with imprisonment of term not less than 1 month, extend to 3 years, or with fine not less than rupees 25,000, extend to rupees 1 lakh, or with both. So this is the beauty of Consumer Protection Act 2019, which has more power. How to draft or file a consumer complaint. This is very important. Now we saw what are the salient features of the Consumer Protection Act is, but very important, you should know how to draft a consumer complaint. Learn about the eligibility condition for instituting a consumer complaint. Learn about the aspects to consider while determining which commission to approach, whether district forum, state commission, or NCDRC. Learn how to certify the ingredients of a defect in a product, deficiency in service in your complaint. Learn about the procedural aspects of filing a complaint. Learn about the mistakes made in drafting a consumer complaint and how to avoid them. So now we'll see a sample notice. Now this is before opening my law firm. This is was sent on my letterhead. Now we have started our law firm. So now how it is started? To all such concerned directors and authorized person. Name of the company is there. There are two builders are there, joint venture. So no personal name is there, but we have made notice to the corporation, the corporates. So what is the title? Sub-legal notice for performing your obligation as per the sale agreement dated so-and-so, interest 18% per annum for the given date of possession till delivery of the site. Now here you can see the beauty. I have mentioned 18%, but if in RERA, if I go, so the percentage is fixed as per the SBI lending rate now, which is 7% plus 2%, it comes to 9%. Here I can ask more, but now the court will decide whether I should get 18%, 12% or 16%. So this is the beauty. Now this is the how the notice has to be sent. My client so-and-so, then you have to mention the flat number, which floor it is, what is the area, then the GST amount which he has paid, So this is the form of the format how the notice has to be sent. But there is no rule in Consumer Protection Act that you have to send a notice. But I always send a notice so that when I go to the court, I can say that I had opened a window, for the opposite party to come and rectify their mistakes or rectify their services or give the possession. But despite that, they have ignored my notice. And that is the reason I have come into the consumer forum or consumer state commission, as the case may be. My clients state that they have been found that there is no material progress in the construction site comparing to the time limit given by you. Upon confronting you over the issue of getting the possession of the said flat within the time of via phone calls and emails. However, every time my clients have been persuaded with some evasive answers on some of the other pretexts. With such evasive answers, my clients were always misguided in terms that with few months they will get the possession. However, these promises and assurance never turned into reality till date, and my clients, along with several other buyers in your projects, are now feeling they have been cheated by your hands for luring them with the golden picture of flat and have embezzled crores of rupees from many innocent home buyers like my clients out of their lifetime savings. So this flat is costing around 2 crore rupees and odd. So once this thing happens, the clients get really frustrated. So you have to first send them a notice. So you can stop this video and you can go to the content of this thing. Now I will go to the complaint part, how the complaint has to be drafted. So here how the complaint is being drafted before the Honorable State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, Mumbai, Maharashtra. There is the name of the complainant. It's in the joint name of husband and wife, their address versus the same notice which I have shown you. For the same notice, we have drafted the complaint and it is already lodged. So you will just get an idea. If you are a lawyer or if you are a student, you will come to know how to draft a complaint. So consumer complaint under section 47 read with section 2 subsection C of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Now this is how the complaint starts. The complainants are the consumers within the definition of Consumer Protection Act 2019 and are constrained to approach this honorable forum against the gross acts of the opposite parties wherein they have committed serious deficiency of services and unfair trade practices. The present complaint is being filed by the complainant against the opposite parties, hereby seeking possession of flat along with all the amenities as promised and the compensation from the opposite parties for inter alia the deficiency of service by the opposite parties. The opposite parties have utilized the hard-earned money of the complainants have failed to deliver flat to the complainants despite having been paid a substantial amounts towards the consideration of flat. Now the complainants are constrained to approach this honorable commission on account of utter disregard of the opposite parties, ensuring timely completion of the flat purchased by the complainants, failing to address the grievances raised by the complainants by way of multiple correspondence with the opposite parties. My client had written them an email also, and before starting this procedure of consumer complaint, we had sent a notice. So we had opened a window. So the court will be sympathetic that they have not only come to the court, they have run out of all the remedies available to them. And then they have approached the court. We gave them the notice. We opened the window if they can come and settle with my clients, negotiate with them. But they did not reply to the notice. Now, this is a standard format. Now, the complainants have paid total amount of 1,16,18,954, right? Inclusive of GST, TDS. So they have amended, and as per the ledger dated 15/5/2021. So you have to be very particular about when you're writing this amount. You have to cross-check with the clients, with the ledger. Otherwise, if you make this silly mistakes which has to be avoided, and the date, this has to be, thoroughly checked, cross-checked, and then only when you send a final copy, you see that all these things are covered up, and you have to, if you are a senior lawyer, you have to see that junior does not make such type of mistakes. And what are the sections which are attracting this complaint? Section 2, subsection 7, then section 2, subsection 6, along with section 47 of the Consumer Protection Act. So this is how your complaint has to be drafted. The opposite parties of deficiency of service within the meaning of section 2, subsection 11 of the Consumer Protection Act 2019, and unfair trade within the meaning of section 2, subsection 47 of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. The opposite party number 1, the promoter, or the opposite party number 2 is the absolute landowner, and both are engaged in the business of construction development of land and are involved in development of the subject project. Now, first is you have to come with the brief facts to the filing of the complaint. That in 2017, the complainants were in search of a new under construction project in order to purchase the flat for residential purpose in a newly constructed building. And the complainants, their search of the same came across the project, namely so and so, I don't want to name them, but the complainant falling prey to the misrepresentation in regards of amenities and information details shared of the construction partners of the opposite parties, which are also mentioned in the brochures, got lured to book the flat in the said project. So you have to mention all these big facts. Now, why this is important? In the brochure, it was written that the construction will be done by the L&T. And after some times, the L&T was thrown out and the local contractor is constructing. So you cannot compare the quality of L&T construction, which is giving you the project, and with a local contractor, because L&T has a different way of doing all the construction. They have particular checks. They will see that concrete mix is of proper grade, the curing and everything is done in a very scientific and engineering manner. So there will be a minimal default by the L&T. But if a new contractor comes, the local contractor, he's not going to give you the quality which L&T is going to give you. So this is the where you can ask for the deficiency, and you can cross-check whatever the L&T had done. You can take a lab test of that concrete, and whatever the local contractor has done, you take the lab test of the concrete and you will find the difference. And then the life of the building got reduced because of the local contractor. So you can come ask the compensation for that also. So this is the beauty of going into the consumer forum or consumer act. So this is how I'm just running through this thing. The complainants agreed to the consideration amount of rupees 1,81,49,666 GST as per 5.5 discount. So whatever it is, now this is how your complaint has to come out. You have to exhibit this 1 crore 80 lakhs and see the exhibit C, the opposite parties. So you have to I'm just running the cursor so that you get the idea how it is drafted. Then we'll go to the components, what should be there. So the table has to be there, on what date, what was the check or RTGS number, this amount is paid in a tabular form. So it becomes very simple for the judge. You can compare. Now you cannot mess up here. You have to be very particular about the date and the amount and how it is paid. If there is a check or RTGS, you have to mention and you have to exhibit all this. It is submitted that the complainants have always made the payment according to the demands and compliance of the opposite parties. Till date, the complainants have paid to the opposite party so and so amount, but they have not got the possession. So there was no default from the complainant side in making the payment. See here, if you can see here, I have mentioned the complainant said that taken to the consideration, the RCC structure expected life is 60 to 75 years in ideal condition. However, the RCC structure is standing for the last 10 years without any protection, deteriorating due to the direct exposure of the climatic condition. In the present case, this will be the cause of accelerated structural deterioration and reinforced concrete deteriorates due to the direct climatic exposure, thereby reducing the structural life. Now, if you see, if there is a concrete structure, even the brickwork, to protect the brickwork, we do the plaster. And to protect the plaster, we do the paint, apex paint or high quality paint, so that, the plaster is protected. If the paint goes away, then plaster deteriorates. And if you don't take action, then the brickwork and the RCC work gets deteriorated. So there is every action. Now, if the structure is standing without the plaster or without the paint, the life of the structure is going to be reduced. So this is a very important aspect. The complainant stated that again, in the hope to get the possession of the earliest, made the payment of 3,72,631 to the opposite party on 12/6/2020, further payment in the month of April. Even after we sending them the notice, we did not stop making the payment. We were, as and when the demands were raised, now we have made the payments. Now here I'll tell you, you have to pray for the interim reliefs. Now what is the interim relief? Let me go to the down. You can, now first we go to the grounds. Because this has to be an essential part of your complaint. Because the opposite parties have failed to deliver peaceful possession of the flat despite a lapse of more than 4 years of booking of the flat, it is submitted that the complainants booked the flat in 2017 and made a substantial payment towards the consideration of the said. However, the opposite parties have miserably failed to live up to the assurance made by them of delivering the possession by June 2018, later postponed to June 2019. So if we calculate 2018 to 2022, there is a lapse of almost 3.5 years, and it will be 4 years in short time. So these are the grounds which you have to mention, because the opposite parties are responsible for carrying on with the unfair practice under Section 2, subsection 47 of Consumer Protection Act 2019, whereby unfair means have been used by the opposite parties to deceive the complainant and similarly other such home buyers. Because the structure constructed by the opposite parties of a substandard quality and also due to the change in contractor, see what I was saying in the beginning, from L&T to a local one, it is submitted that the complainant upon visiting the project site observed that the building is not being constructed as per the standards promised and that the quality of the final product of the promise and that the quality of the final product promise therefore amounting to product liability. See what I was going through the slide, product liability. On this sole ground, it is sufficient to prove the deficiency of service on the part of the opposite parties as the construction company was changed without informing the prior to the purchasers and home buyers. See, in the RERA also, there is a provision that if they are going to make any changes, they have to take the consent of the home buyer. So even that was not adhered to. So these are all the grounds. You can just go through it while seeing the video. I don't want to take much time. I want to go to the more crucial part. One is that the interim relief you have to make in the same complaint. You don't have to first file the complaint and then you ask for the interim relief, because it will lengthen your process. So in the same complaint, you have to request for the interim relief. Then you have to mention about, this is a very important fact, that the limitation that the complaint is within the 2 periods. Beyond 2 periods, 2 years period, it is very difficult, then you have to explain to the court that there is a delay from our part in filing the complaint. The 2 years have been passed. So it takes time. But as per Section 69 of the Consumer Protection Act, you have to file the complaint within the 2 years. So that is a prescribed limit. And there is no other civil complaint. So it has to be only one complaint, but you have the privilege of filing a criminal complaint also. It doesn't bar you from filing. Then you have to write about the jurisdiction, why it has come into the state commission and why it has not gone to the district forum or NCDRC, and the court fees which has to be paid. So see now, if you calculate the court fees, we have mentioned 3,000 rupees, but if we had gone into RERA, it have to be 5,000 rupees. Then you have to write this right to amend also. And the prayers, first is allow the present complaint to hold and declare the opposite party to be guilty of deficiency in service, unfair trade practice as per the provision of the Consumer Protection Act 2019, to direct the opposite parties 1 and 2 to complete the construction of the building known as so and so. I don't want to name them. And alternatively, this honorable be pleased to direct the opposite parties to provide alternate flat. So we had given a suggestion also, but it didn't materialize. They were asking more amount. So the talk did not went through. So these are all the prayers. So this is how your index and everything has to be. Exhibit D is on what page number. These are the list of documents. Then there is an affidavit in support of the complaint. Then there is verification. Then the wakalatnama has to be there. And the beauty is there. If the home buyer or any complainant for washing machine or all, they can just file in a simple legal paper, plain paper, they can file the complaint. But as an advocate, you have to be professional and have to some draft in filing the complaints. And then the synopsis, then memorandum of the address where they will know the opposite party will send their replies to us. Now, application for interim reliefs. This is what I want to stress upon. So with the main complaint only, you should attach the application of interim reliefs. Don't do it later on. It is a time-consuming process. So then first, then you will have to seek the relief. Then they will say yes. Then you have to file. Now, this is very important aspect. Applicants are the original complainants who have filed the complaint against the opposite parties inter alia for reliefs as specially prayed therein. The applicant repeats, reiterates, and adopts whatever stated in the complaint and the affidavit in support of the complaint filed by the applicant as if the same forms are part of the application. The facts in the case gist are herein under. Now, this is what I'm asking for the interim relief. That is A. Complainant against the opposite parties, however, the same got dismissed for being a premature. The applicant has given a legal notice to the compensate him for all the losses he has suffered, but to avail, in fact, the recent demand raised by the opposite parties in the month of December. Even after sending them the notice, they had raised the demand and we have paid them, been complied. The opposite parties have willfully neglected and constructed, and now the applicant humbly prays under is A, the pending and the hearing final disposal of the above numbered complaint direct by an order of ad interim and interim injunction restraining the opposite parties, that is the builders, their partners, directors and agents, servants or any other persons acting under them from selling or mortgaging the alien thing or creating any third party interest in respect of the said flat. So this is very important that, and this is also very important that pending the hearing and final disposal of the complainant be exempted, suspended towards making any further payments against the demand raised by the purchased flat. Why this is important? Because now he has paid a substantial amount of more than 1 crore rupees. If you calculate the interest at 9%, 12%, 16%, 18%, whatever the court is, so the complainant is going to receive the money after setting aside what he has to pay, because already the interest has accumulated for more than 4 years, which he is supposed to get, right? So this is very important that if you are filing a complaint for a aggrieved home buyers, you see that this clause is there in the interim relief, that pending the hearing and the final disposal of the complaint, the opposite parties be refrained from raising any further demands of the said demands be set aside against the interest and compensation receivables. This is very important that whatever I have to pay to the bidder should be set aside against the interest and compensation which I am going to receive. Now, I will share you something very important and I can take more time in that. Now, I will go slowly here so that any new advocate or the advocate who wants to start practice in the consumer court or consumer forum, first is the components of a complaint. The complaint must include the following details. Description of the parties, that is brief description of the party should be included that you have seen in the earlier presentation. Then the transaction details, which I had made on the table that on so-and-so date, check number so-and-so was issued and so-and-so amount, whether it is through RTGS, whether it was for GST or VAT, everything has to be mentioned clearly and you cannot goof up in this. Then while describing the transaction, the details of the bill, cash memo, vouchers issued by the seller or service provider should be mentioned and the copy of the same should be attached to the complaint marked as Annexure X. Documents being attached to the complaint should be marked as numerically or alphabetically in order. Deficiency or defect, details of the grievances describing the error, defect, or respective or unfair trade practice ought to be included. So you have to describe what is the deficiency. Rectification, the complainant should explain the attempts made by him. See what I said, that there was an attempt made by the complainant. He wrote the email, no response was there. Then he approached us, so we sent them a notice, right? That you can rectify, you can negotiate with my aggrieved home buyers, the complainant, for not giving the possession, and the matter could have sorted it out. But still they ignored. So that is why we have approached the State Commission. So we, while arguing also, this will give a sympathy of the court that you tried your level best. You applied all the remedies which you can, you exhausted all the remedies, but there was no response from the opposite party. So we were compelled to come to the consumer forum. Or proof of notice sent to the seller or service provider. See, this is where there is no hard and fast rule that you have to send a notice, but this helps you in the later stage while you are arguing that my intention was that I had given a time to the opposite party to rectify the mistakes, but he did not adhere to my notice. So that is the reason I have come here. Other legal provisions, here the complainant should make the reference to any other law rules to procedure that may be applicable to the use which has been violated by seller or service provider. Now here, suppose if I'm talking about the home buyer. So now what he has violated? He has violated the possession date, right? As per the RERA, there are many things, in RERA which were violated that I can come into the consumer court. That after 51% of the units are sold, whether it is through allotment letter or a registered agreement, the moment the 51% units are sold in his books of accounts, he has to form an association or a cooperative society, which he has failed. So that also we can claim here. Jurisdiction, the complainant should mention the details regarding his manner of computing the claim hereunder and set out the pecuniary jurisdiction of the relevant authority he seeks to approach for relief. The territorial jurisdiction should also be mentioned and highlighted to avoid objections on this ground. So we have to mention about the territorial and the pecuniary jurisdiction. Now, why territorial? Now, suppose my client, as I said that yesterday I had a client who had booked a flat in Noida, but he's residing here, his Aadhaar card is here, his bank account is here, his business is here. So he can file a complaint in State Commission or District Forum here in Mumbai because that is the provision which is given in the 2019 CPA Act. And the limitation, the complainant should specify that it is being filed within the 2-year limitation period, which I talked earlier also. In case of delay in filing, the same explanation for seeking condonation of delay should not be specified. You may have to also file application seeking condonation of delay under the section 69 of the CPA 2019. And the relief claim. See, what should be the removal of defects in, if there is a goods, then in goods, or deficiency in service. Replacement with new goods. Suppose now you have purchased a LED light and it is a defective, so they have to replace it. Return of the price or charges paid if you don't want to have that defective light again. So he has to either replace it or give you the same amount. compensation on account of financial loss or injury, possession of flat or property along with interest and compensation for delay and harassment. So now there was a mental harassment and there was a financial loss because the builder did not give the property in time. So this all has to be relief we have to ask. However, where the compensation is sought, the complainant has to explain the manner in which the amount was arrived and attach required documents to support such claims as an annexure. So we cannot just put any random figure, but it has to substantiate how the calculation has come for this compensation or for the interest. Particularly, proof of loss of damage has to be furnished for a valid claim of compensation. Chief Administrator Huda versus Shakuntala Devi. You can just have a look at this judgment. Then prayers, the complainant should describe the relief sought in the form of a formal prayer to authority being approached in the following manner. It is therefore most respectfully prayed that this Honorable Commission may kindly be pleased to relief sought, particularly by way of payment, has to be justified with facts and evidence in the body of the complaint in the prayer. The total amount being claimed should be stated briefly in addition to seeking the relief such that the disbursement, any breakup of the amount sought in the complaint should be included only in the body of the complaint and not in the prayer. That we have already shown you that how you have to draft the complaint. Then the verification, which you have also seen, the complainant makes a statement that the particulars furnished by him in the complainant are true to the best of his knowledge, or he has stated anything false or he has not stated anything false or concealed any material fact. How to include the appropriate remedies in the prayer: to remove the defect from the goods or services, to replace the defective goods, to retain the complainant the price or the charges paid by the complainant, to award compensation to the consumer any loss or injury suffered by the consumer due to the negligence of the opposite party. Punitive damages may be allowed where the commission deems fit. A sum may be ordered to be payable by the seller or service provider where the commission is also of the opinion that the injury has been suffered by a large number of consumers who are not indefatigable conveniently. This amount shall be at least 25% of the value of the defective goods or services. To discontinue the unfair trade practice, all the restrictive trade practice, or to refrain from it, not to offer hazardous goods for sale, cease their production, to desist from offering services which are hazardous in nature, to issue corrective advertisement, neutralize the effect of misleading advertisement and cost all that borne by such party responsible for misleading advertisement, to cease and desist from issuing misleading advertisement, award compensation in product liability action under Chapter 6 of CPA 2019. Now, product liability, I showed you, in the earlier that the L&T was replaced by a local contractor. So there is a product liability. It means there is a deficiency of the product. Provide adequate cost to parties incurred herein under. Note that the new act mandates that the compensation record under the act will be credited to a fund marked by the commission and utilized in a manner as may be prescribed. However, rules of the same have not been notified. Documents to attach to a complaint: receipt of purchase, then there has to be an affidavit, then index, receipt of payment of court fees. Now, initially, we used to pay through the nationalized bank, but in Mumbai, they are asking, you have to make payment through GRAS. So it has to be done electronically. Authorization of representation through Board of Resolution. Now, suppose if the builder is representing or there is a corporate, so the managing director or the director is not going to come. They will authorize one person. So that resolution has to be passed and that resolution has to be the part of the attachment. Complaint number and all this detail has to be there. A brief description of the activities that the representative is authorized to undertake in the process, such legal proceedings such as appointing an advocate. Now, first, the board will pass a resolution that we are appointing ABC as our representative and he has the right to appoint any advocate. So this all thing has to be there. Then Wakalatnama has to be there, which we have already seen. Then filing requirements for the complaint. The complaint can be made on a plain paper, so it has to be notarized. So if you are an advocate, so you prepare it properly. But if you are filing in person, you can just, with the handwritten is also fine. But if it is a type, it is good. So a person can appear in person. complainant can appear in person. There is no need of advocate. But if the stakes are high, it is always advisable to take a professional help. This has been allowed to make the process convenient to consumers who may want to take an advocate assistance. However, when the complaint is filed with the commission filing counter, the defects may be pointed out at that point and may be rectified immediately. This may not be possible for the complainant is merely posted. So it is after filing a complaint, there will be some objection, some paper will be not legible, not readable, I mean to say. So you have to replace, there can be any defects in your complaint, which you have to remove it. Then only it is allowed for the admission. So in the first hearing, you will have to satisfy the judge that this is my complaint under section so-and-so, and these are the defects, or these are the delayed, whatever it is. And once he is satisfied, your complaint is admitted, then the complaint is sent to the opposite parties where you have to do the legwork. It will be sent in the envelope or the name of the district forum or the state commission, but you will have to do the legwork. And once that is served, then the next date is given and the party has to appear. The opposite party has to appear in the next hearing. The complainant is required to file 4 copies of the complaint and its annexure, additional copies of each opposite party. This is on the assumption that the copies will be served to the opposite party by the commission, though in practice only summons is served and the complainant is expected to serve a copy of the complaint to the opposite party. So it is expected from us that if we are a complainant, we have to make that number of sets. 2 sets will be there with the consumer forum or state commission, and then number of opposite parties. If there are 2, there are 3, there are 4, that many types sets you will have to make. And once you get the summon order, you have to serve to the opposite party the copies and tell them that your complaint, the next date of hearing is so and so date. Court fee in consumer complaints. See, note that in CPA 2019 describes the payment of the court fee may be made electronically as may be prescribed. However, rules of the same I am not been notified yet, hence the above mentioned method may be allowed until such time. But in Mumbai, we have to do it electronically, we have to pay through GRAS. The total value of the goods or service compensation claim amount of fee payable up to 5 lakhs. So there is no fees up to 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs and 10 lakhs rupees 200. 10 lakhs not exceeding 20 lakhs, it is 400. See how economical the consumer is. 20 lakh to 50 lakh, the rupees is 2,000. Above 50 lakhs up to rupees 1 crore is 4,000. The National Commission above 1 crore is rupees 5,000 and maximum it is 7,500. Common mistakes in drafting and filing the consumer complaint. Failure to include, it is clear, but it is actually a prayer. So one may detail the compensation claimed in the body of the complaint, failing to include same in the brief manner in the form of specific prayer. So many times, the new enthusiasts, they draft the complaint very well, but whatever relief they are seeking, it is not prayed. So the prayer has to include what specific prayer you want as a prayer, then the interim prayers. So it has to be very specific. You have to see first, when you see the draft, what I have noticed is even the judges, when the complaint is there, they will go through the prayers. So if the prayers are very specific, then only they will go into the complaint body. But if the prayers are in a haphazard way drafted, the judge is not interested in your complaint. So it is very important the prayers are drafted very specifically. Failure to attach all relevant evidence in the complaint. Electronic or digitally procured documents. This is very, very important that if you are doing any thing electronically, so you have to have a 65B certificate. It is suggested that a certificate under section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act 1872 be attached whenever such documents are attached as annexure with the complaint. Section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act 1872 requires that a document certifying the authenticity of the electronic record be attached when such records are presented as evidence in judicial proceedings, where the person providing such certificate is not in possession of the original copy of the record. So this is very important. Failure to sign properly in or mention the correct address. So that is also, where we make mistakes. Then this is a checklist. Brief description of the parties, details of the transaction of purchase, details of grievance, explain claim made by the complainant to rectify the problem. So you have to explain your claim in a very logical manner. Attach certificate under Section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act when producing digital evidence. Description of facts determined of a pecuniary and territorial jurisdiction and commission. Statement of the complainant is being filed within the period of limitation under Section 69, that is within 2 years. If you are not able to file within 2 years, then you have to explain why the delay was there. And it depends upon the judge to condone that delay or not, or he can reject your complaint. The relief claims in detail, prayers formally stating that the relief sought in brief. We have already gone through that. And what interim remedies can be claimed? A temporary injection restraining the manufacturer from producing the goods alleged to be defective. An order or test and analysis of samples alleged to be hazardous. For instance, the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission passed an interim order appointing an officer of the commission to randomly pick up the packets of the Maggi and send the same for test and analysis to check whether the same was unfit for consumption. A temporary injection ordering the manufacturer or service provider to desist from allegedly unfair trade practice till the case is decided upon. Whether the defective goods or relevant evidence or the case are in the possession of the opposite party, and the complainant may seek an order restraining the opposite parties from disposing the same till the case is decided upon. And one more clause, if it is a home buyer and he is supposed to receive more than what he is supposed to pay while taking the possession, then he can have one more clause added here that the opposite parties should be refrained from raising any new payments till the case is decided. And whatever the amount which I am going to receive should be set aside from the amount which I am supposed to receive. So this is service-related issue. The consumer is a person who purchases the product or service for a consideration. So this all we have covered in the slide. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this session.
So there's a question that suppose a bank promises to advance the loan and later on denies it. So can one file a consumer complaint for this?
Yeah, I will have to go through his, what was the proposal and how much he has, made processing fees. But the bank can deny if his CIBIL score is not good, if he has defaulted in the past, if his track record is not good, the bank is definitely going to deny. But if he has a good case, then I'll have to see his papers. Then only I can.
I have a question regarding the pecuniary jurisdiction. How to calculate it regarding the insurance theft claim matters?
See, what is your claim amount? The pecuniary jurisdiction is fixed now. For 50 lakhs, it is district forum. 50 lakhs to 2 crores, it is state commission. And from 2 crores and above, it NCDRC.
Sir, in one of the matter, whether I have to include only the premium paid to, there is a theft claim regarding one of the insurance.
What is your claim?
Claim amount is that is 3,93,000.
So it will go to the district forum.
No, sir. My question is the calculation of pecuniary jurisdiction in theft claim matter. Suppose I paid the premium, whether I have to go for regarding the insured value or I have to take in account the premium paid.
Claim.
While drafting a complaint, how to justify mental harassment and inconvenience related compensation claim. Means, can I claim compensation of rupees 10 lakhs if my TV company is not repairing the TV since 2 months, and the TV cost is only 16,000 rupees? And if yes, then what can be the grounds?
So in that case, now what is your mental agony?
So it was pandemic era and kids were at home, we were at home. So there was no other source of entertainment here. So the TV was critical to me.
And the maximum you can claim for a mental agony of 10,000 to 20,000 rupees in this case. And let the court decide. Or you can write 25,000 rupees and let the court decide.
Sir, it was a wonderful session and I have one query. As I asked one question, this is related to that only. One of my client is fighting with the bank. He has taken a home loan and bank has assured for the 2.67 that PMAY. and now bank is saying that it is not up to them, it is up to the National Housing Board, which they have to approve. Initially the bank said that you are eligible for the PMAY, that is rupees 2.67 lakhs, and
Right.
now the after 3 years bank is denying, saying that you have second home, means one home already, and the client says that I don't have any another home, this is my first home. Number one. And number two, bank is denied that your salary was in a slab, particular slab, so we cannot process further. So when the home loan was applied, his salary was in up to the mark where he can go for the PMAY policy to get that benefit of 2,67,000. But now the bank is saying that it is not up to us, it is up to the National Housing Board. So in this case, bank is not listening anything, neither the branch manager is accepting any application. So in this case, can we go for the consumer court?
Yeah,
Consumer forum?
definitely. First is you have to send them the notice. So you send them a notice. I think the notice they will negotiate and settle the matter.
Sir, I would like to ask you a question about a matter related to society, where the builder have actually formed the society, but not have handed the society to the society member still yet. So, how to like approach the consumer commission in that, and what prayer should we include in that?
See, for anything, first you start as you have to send a notice. The notice should bring in your grievances, the defects. What are the defects which you would like to builder to rectify? Right now, has he collected money for forming the society?
No, basically he have collected the money initially when the time he have made the
In which
agreement
year
and
he has
agreement.
collected the money?
2 years back.
How much amount he has collected?
That I'm not able to recollect. Basically, I
See,
haven't.
first is that's why I told you that what should be, how to draft the complaint. What should,
Yes, sir.
so your ground should first to make your grounds. What are the grounds? How much money he has collected? Whether he has conveyed the land in the name of the society. If not, then you can send a notice that as per you are staying where in Maharashtra only.
Yes, in Maharashtra, in Thane jurisdiction.
So you can say, you can quote as per MOFA, you are supposed to form the society and hand over within prescribed limit. And plus you have to convey the land to the society, which you have not done. And that notice has to, bring all the grounds. And then you can go for the consumer forum. So you see, actually the clarity has to be right there, right from the beginning. It is not randomly you send in the notice that you have to go for a holistic cure, right? Right from getting the conveyance in the name of the society. If the conveyance is not done, then the builder is liable to pay the property tax till he gives you the conveyance. That is the provision of MOFA as well as RERA also. So if he is violated that, then you can take the compensation for that also. And then he is duty bound to convey the land in the name of the society and hand over all the papers. See, like the builder's job is not only giving you the possession, he has to give you all the approved plans of the RCC, all the approved plans of the electrical wiring, all the approved plans of the plumbing, all the approved plans of the common areas, right? How much parking he has sold in the closed garage and what is the open parking space. So all the plans should be there, the part of it. And then you just don't write only a notice for the society maintenance which he has collected. It should have all the grounds.
This is a personal experience. We bought a television during the Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti. So my daughter booked a TV online. I was not here for around 15 days. So the person, they have a third party who comes and delivers the TV. He got it here and he put it on the table. And then there was a opportunity where we could wall mount it. But because we didn't, my daughter was alone. She's a 16, 17-year-old child. So because of that, we didn't get it done. It was just placed on a tabletop. That person who came from the third party also told us that if you want, I will personally install it. He told her and went. Now, what happened is when I came back after 15 days, my daughter hardly uses a TV because she's a college-going child and very busy. So when I came here, we put the TV on and it worked maybe for around 3 to 4 hours. And then after it just went blank. We called them up and we called them for service. When the engineer came here, he saw the TV and he tapped on it and he saw that there was sparks, means the display had totally gone off. So he immediately told us that this product is defective and it is we are liable to replace and give you a new one. Now what happened was, when he was just examining the TV, he took a video. So while taking the video, he kept on putting the TV front, back, because it was table topped. The minute he turned, it fell over and the screen got totally damaged. He immediately said, now it cannot be replaced. And he told us, don't contact the company. I will talk to my senior. I think this is the mistake that happened, was immediately we should have lodged a police complaint against them for coming to our premises and damaging our product. But we didn't do it. And we thought that the law of the land prevails and those people will, definitely, get back to us and all. But they didn't do that. Then we contacted the company and we contacted the grievance officer of the company whose product it is. Till today, that was 21st October, sir. And today we are in February. We are just on email contacting them and they keep on telling us that first you have to get that damaged, the defective TV, the damage, you have to repair it, only then we will replace it. I mean, I know it sounds stupid that something that is already dead, it's like taking an X-ray to find out how many bones are broken. And then you want to, take it for whatever, to the graveyard for burying that particular thing. Now they have refused to absolutely help us, sir. So I think this is a fit case for Consumer Forum.
Yeah, it's a fit case. First, you send them a notice.
The video, by God's grace, we got the video of him examining the TV. But when the company head office only knows that it was a damaged TV because he took the photograph on the video of it being damaged. So this intermediary video where he's examining it and it is not working is with me. And I have sent it to the company. But the company, they are so smart. They want to protect their own. They don't want to admit. They have told me, I will give you 50% discount on the damage done by their own employee. Not indirectly, that it is damaged. We will give you 50% discount. Only then we will talk. And 50 people have called me up because they all realize that they are all in trouble. Because see what they have tried to do, they have tried to suppress evidence. That is a video which was of examining on the first instance. That is when it was defective. Now the damaged TV is what the grievance officer has. So he keeps on, like, I keep getting, these automated mails saying that we'll get back to you, but nothing is happening. So now, please, can you help me?
You have to send a notice and it's a small amount. So you just, when you draft it, you just show me the draft wherever I feel it needs to be corrected. I'll help you in that.
Sir, I'm very grateful, sir. Sir, I want to understand, if it's a 30,000 product, what are the other compensation I can claim? I don't want the TV now, because I have understood that these people they're not here for anything but their own means and ends. I want to give it back to them. They can keep it. And I want my money.
What you can ask is that they should refund your money full, 30,000 rupees.
Yes.
And for unfair practice, defective product and mental agony, everything you calculate 10,000 and ask for another 30,000. But it's not necessary you'll get the entire 60. See, it is not getting the money, that 30,000 compensation, but it is to make them understand that you cannot take consumer for granted.
So, sir, what is the formula for calculating the compensation? So, is there any formula?
There is no such formula.
It varies from case to case, the calculation of the compensation. Sir, any message that you want to give to the advocates, that how can they make the consumer movement stronger? How can advocates contribute towards this movement?
First is they have to read the Consumer Protection Act 2019 along with the new notification 2021 about the pecuniary jurisdiction. And Consumer Court has a very vast implication. For everything we can find a remedy in Consumer Court. Rather than, even nowadays, I'm not going in RERA. I convince my client that instead of going to RERA, we should go to the Consumer Court. So hardly I have filed 2 cases in RERA, and rest all the cases, around 30-40 cases have been filed in Consumer Court. So Consumer Court is, where the judge who is sitting there has both the power, that is civil as well as criminal. He can send the accused, the offender, to the jail directly from that court. So in this thing is, we have to promote this Consumer Act, which is actually, we are not able to know our rights as a consumer, whether somebody is providing service, whether somebody is giving us a product, whatever it is. Now the ambit is very large. Electronic, what my friend now, the advocate, she had that TV purchased and the MIS delivered a defective. So all this has to, and there is a strong message has to go whenever there is some, whenever an advocate wins a case in the consumer court, he should, come forward in the YouTube, social media, or through plea and say that this was what my client got the benefit, right? So this is very important that we as an advocate should promote this Consumer Act 2019.
Sir, I have one small question. It's my sister's flat. It's a
Yeah.
cooperative society, conveyance, everything has been done. The society was formed in way back 2009, but there has been no meetings, no distribution of share certificates, etc. However, I getting behind this secretary, he has given the share certificate to my sister, but there is no date on it. Usually it has to have some general body meeting date or some date when everything is distributed to everybody.
Right.
And
normally in the share certificate, it is written on particular this managing committee meeting, the name
yes,
entered, right? And it was endorsed in INJ registered. Right. So if it is not there, there is a deficiency of service from the society side. You can send a notice to them to rectify this mistake. If they don't rectify, then you can approach the consumer court.
and so they have not held any meetings. This same body is continuing. We don't get any.
So
accounts repaid.
if they are not holding any meeting, so it doesn't come in the Consumer Act. But then you have to file a complaint with the deputy registrar of your ward. Where do you stay?
Pune, sir.
You will have to find out which ward you are there in the cooperative society. And Pune, the commissioner of registrar is in Pune. So you have a very good access if you are in Pune. So you can write to them, make a formal complaint, and otherwise dissolve this committee and form a new committee.
Thank you.